Alright, what's up YouTube? Absolute here with another video for you guys. This video is unboxing the Valenion power system for the Stampede, Rustler, shitload of other Traxxas vehicles, two-wheel drive and four-wheel drive. 3500 kV unit, and yeah, here's an unboxing. Now, I think it's been done before. I'm sure it has. It's not a huge unboxing. It actually is my first unboxing. Mostly I just get home, rip the shit up, and then maybe show it to you guys after that. But I'm gonna start doing some of these unboxings for you guys. Try to refrain from just opening the shit up and then sharing it with you guys, which is much better. Okay, let's get into it. Biggest thing too as well while I'm doing this is I think now I kind of have a complete comparison of motor systems for the Stampede two-wheel drive, a Rustler two-wheel drive, or whatever long Traxxas vehicles, I guess, particularly to this vehicle that I wanted to show you guys. And so I think now I have kind of a full completion. I wanted to not just do an unboxing, but also share some thoughts with you guys on comparisons to motor systems, ups and downs, ins and outs, and kind of if someone's looking into going brushless, they can kind of have maybe some knowledge to go ahead and do so. Alright, so let's get started here. Undo the package. I've actually here we are. I purchased this from my local hobby shop. Paid more than I would have if I purchased it online. However, I'm a big believer in supporting local hobby shops, definitely. So keep the money local. They actually don't make that much money on electronics. For that reason, my hobby shop doesn't give me a big discount on electronics where they do other shit because I spend so much damn money in there. But it's still local. It's still revenue for them. It's still increases their overall numbers for the year, the quarter, whatever. So that's kind of why I've done it. So opening up, as you guys see on the package, something I already kind of knew was going to happen. On the package when I first saw it, I kind of looked at the date and shared my thoughts with the local hobby shop owner, and that was that on the case you see that there is the blue can and there is the aluminum shield here with these 4 screws. That's their old system. It's no longer like that. I do have one of those motors. In comparison, it's to something like this, but with kind of these screws on the side. Something very similar to this, but that on the other side. And it is, I have one mounted on the truck, or I'll show you guys. It is something you can remove and kind of get in there and clean out too as well. They've switched that up and to a whole kind of sealed can thing, if you will, with only removable, kind of you're able to open out one side. I think it's a little bit better for waterproofing and such. I guess I'll yet to see the comparison between the two, but as you guys can see, although the package does show this motor system, the date on it was fairly new, and it was something that Traxxas has released soon, and that is, if you guys can see, that is 9/06/2012, of course. And so I knew that this motor system was not going to be what this shown here. So if you're going to be buying one of these, know that you will get the updated motor, whether it does show this on here or not. If that's super old, like you have a hobby shop that doesn't really sell too much stock, and maybe they've had one sitting around for a while, I'm not sure when the dates was that they officially changed it or not, but if it's pretty recent, then you're going to get yourself one of these motor systems here. Okay, so going into it, what you're going to get is you're going to get, of course, the speed control and the motor. Again, here, as you can see, it is a sealed can. I think it does look nice. I think it's good for what I'm going to be using it for, and I think it looks good that way, especially because I'm going to be running it in the snow and such. It'll be my first waterproof truck, so I'm excited about that. You can pop this off, of course, and then the screws are in there, so you can get in the motor if you want to clean it out. Yes, you can clean them out. Yes, you can spray inside the motor. I use a electronic cleaner, and it's essentially like a fast-drying alcohol-type chemical. You spray it in, and it dries very quickly. I have restored motors like that. Got in there and sprayed it and cleaned them all out inside. They do get crud inside. This one looks like it's really well protected from doing it, but I'm sure shit will still get inside from the bearings and stuff like that, as it normally does. They got rebuild kits for the bearings, and they also have these covers for sale for a couple bucks. So if your cover here is all jacked up, you can purchase just a new one of these. I've done that with the Velineon I replaced. The bearings are not the same bearings that do go on your wheels. They look really, really close, but they are a different size. I'm not sure off the top of my head what the size of those are, as compared to Traxxas's blue rubber sealed bearings, which is part number 5116. They're not the same bearings. They're different bearings. They're not just steel, but they're a tiny bit different in size. I think they're a little bit wider. So you do not want to use the same bearings. I think they even warn about that. You definitely don't want to use the same bearings. So, of course, clean motor system, updated. You guys can kind of see here. Moving on to the Velineon system. One thing I kind of noticed before messing with this other speed control I'm going to show you guys here is I do really like how Traxxas has these little cord holders right here for the fan. A lot of them don't have these little cord holders, and I think they did a good job with that. I have the reason why I'm stating that is I have a speed control here, which I ended up putting tape on, but their fan to speed control wires are kind of all jumbled up, and there's no way to clean it up. So I ended up kind of folding it up and then wrapping electrical tape, and that's kind of the best I could do with what they offer. My salespeople don't give a shit. Most people, I guess, don't. But I like my trucks to look really, really clean and look good, and things cleaned up, wires cleaned up. I'll show you guys more in a minute. And so something like that is I wasn't really digging. I cleaned it up as best I could. When I got a hold of this thing, it was kind of all fucked up, and so yeah, that's kind of the best I could there without going too crazy. So I do like how the Velineon speed control does come with that. I'm going to plan on getting a fan. Probably should have just picked one up, but I totally forgot until I almost got home. And I'm probably going to end up getting a fan for this thing. More definitely than not, I'm going to be running 3 cells, and I'll see exactly inform myself how this thing handles and how it runs 3 cells on this bad boy. Maybe Snow will be running mostly 2 cells, I'm not sure. But I'd probably definitely be running 3 cells. What else it comes with? Probably some warranty shit. Yep, warranty information. A post registration card, which I'm sure everyone forgets to send in. I often do. Some tools, some mounting hardware. It looks like for both. Something for like a thicker motor plate. Maybe these are like more for 4-wheel drive. Yeah, probably more for like 4-wheel drive, and these are for like 2-wheel drive. Yeah, I do like these how they hold. I don't like them how you can't really sometimes remove your spur. With the size of spurs I run, I can't, if I use these, I can't just remove the motor. I have to remove the spur gear and then remove the motor. But for most 48 pitch, you're gonna not be able to do it anyways. So, and then also a hex tool, which I have about 1 billion of. And then of course their little manual. If you guys are new to brushless, I would definitely recommend reading this. It's a good way of knowing stuff. Reading shit like this is a good idea, definitely. And then I believe there's probably stickers somewhere, I'm sure. Oh, there's also a little mounting plate. These are pretty outdated. They include these, but I think they're super outdated. I don't think they even really need to include these anymore. The common ones now have the waterproof box and the speed control there too. And I have no clue where the stickers went, but I know they're around here somewhere because I've seen these opened before. So, alright, moving on to conversation. Regarding motor systems. Now this is, of course, there we are, a popular choice of a lot of people who upgrade. Of course, a lot of these come stock. Good and downside of the Velineon system. The motor itself is a fantastic motor. This thing gets abused and used again. Oftentimes, I'm sure people burn this thing up to upwards of 200 degrees Fahrenheit. Something that will fry a motor. This thing, I'm sure, has been taken there many times, and it still composes itself and still retains power. You know, you want to run a motor not really higher than 160. Is ideal temperature for motor's performance. All of that is actually hot on a normal scale. If you're not racing or something, you know, you want to keep it lower. If your motor goes over 200 degrees Fahrenheit, you're gonna fry your motor. It's gonna have permanent damage in there. It's never gonna be the same. So temp guns are good. I have one around. I take with me my basher bag. You know, when I'm running, I oftentimes stop, especially when I change gearing, and in different weather temperatures. If it gets too hot, I'll pull over, stop my truck, get my temperature gun. I can point it at the truck, and then it's going to tell me what degree it is too as well. So that's super useful. I point down really as far in the middle as I can go. I can see the laser there when I'm doing so, and then I'm able to tell. You can get one of these. You can get a Ryobi one of these at Home Depot for $30. It can save you, from a expensive motor, $100 motor, or in my case, I run Pro 4s on my Stampede, and those things are $150 a piece, and I have 2 of them, so I definitely didn't want to fry those. So definitely a worthwhile investment when you're running motors. That's, of course, is an option that comes with VXLs, and a lot of people just go in the hobby shop, say, I'm tired of my XL5 and Titan going out. It's slow as shit. I've been through like 5 of them, which a lot of people do in like a span of 2 or 3 months. They go through like a couple Titans, and they go, I'm sick of that shit. It's slow. What can I get? A lot of hobby shops will just refer them to the VXL system. It's kind of a one and done operation. It is a good system, and it's above all else, it's waterproof, and so they'll do so. Quick stop here. We'll stay on the Titan. This motor goes out like a son of a bitch, as you guys know. It's fairly powerful for what it is. It's not bad at all at 12 turns. The motor itself isn't too shabby, but it is a piece of shit, and it goes out like no one's business. And so one recommendation, if you're watching, if you're brushed, if you gotta stay brushed because of costs, and you'll eventually get there, but you're replacing your son's vehicle who's really young and doesn't need those kinds of speeds, or something along those lines, then a excellent thing for you to get is a Electrifly S600 motor, available in a lot of hobby shops, also sold for, I think, mostly for airplanes. And these things are terrific. They're comparable to the Titan in speed, but they are a lot more reliable, and they're only $16 as well. So if you're having issues with your Titan, you're gonna have to stay with brush system for the time being. That's a really good option that you can go with. It's gonna be the Electrifly S600. Again, that's Electrifly S600. $16, really good option. Replace that Titan you keep replacing. Put one of these in, and likely you're not going to have that headache anymore. Of course, if you have this brush system. Now, good and downside of the VXL system. The motor itself is fantastic. I have one I know that I actually purchased used. I know it's been abused when I first got in the hobby more. Got back into it anyways. And I know it got probably abused to shit, got overheated, and it's still running like a champion. It's still a fast motor. It's terrific. The downside to the system is the speed control. And this speed control here, there's some of the issues of the button sticking, and it itself can overheat. So a fan is definitely recommended, but it's not, and then programmability as well. It's not that much of a robust system. It's really not something that is super capable. It has issues. That being said, you can kind of buy it and rest easy that Traxxas is going to provide support for it. They do have terrific customer service, and they will back their products up, especially if you're not constantly abusing them and things like that. They do have really good customer service. So the downside is you're going to have downtime, but you can purchase it knowing that yes, there's been issues. Yes, Traxxas has kind of fixed some of them a little bit. I've heard some of these batches are good, some of them are not. Hopefully I got a good one, but if worse comes to worse, you're not going to be left high and dry. Which leads me to my next thing. Why not just go out and purchase a Hobby Wing system? Number one, it's not waterproof like the VXL, which I'll get into waterproofing in just a second. Number two, I actually heard this week's Cooking with Nitro topic discussing that part support is shit. Oftentimes you have a Hobby Wing and it goes out, they are gonna say, you know, tough luck. Sometimes those guys will purchase certain amount of 10, a hobby store will. 2 of them will be bad, and again, they'll be like tough luck. You know, you purchase 10 of them, who cares? We're not even going to support you on that. So that's the downside of not purchasing something from like Castle or Traxxas is you're not going to have that part support. You know, you're purchasing from China. They don't look great. You know, on a budget, yeah, it's not too bad. But with my experience of purchasing a cheap charger and then end up having to pay more later on than I would have initially, I'm a big believer for RCs just to get the right shit the first time. So if you have to save up for an extra week or 2, 3, a month to go with a good brushless system, it's not going to be a crazy amount more. It's going to be like, what, 50, 60 bucks more, whatever. You know, fuck it, just go for it. You know what I mean? Just get something good. That being said, is this my ideal system? No, it's not. The motor's awesome. I'd be happy with something like this. However, again, back to the issues of this speed control. It's not programmable. It doesn't have a field card like a Castle does. So back to moving on to what I do recommend in regards to speed controls for a truck like this, and that's going to be number 1 is going to be the Mama Max Pro, which I have here, my main Stampede. It's kind of covered up here by a snappy RC mount, which is another benefit to this speed control. There it is though, however. Mama Max Pro, 125 bucks for this speed control by itself, and you know, super awesome quality. The thing can handle a lot more. It's a lot more capable. You can use a field programming card with it, which show you guys is here, the system. I take it actually on the field with me, and then you can actually use that card to connect to your computer and then make changes on it on the fly instead of having to dink with buttons that I will have to with the Traxxas speed control. You can hook it up to your computer, download the software for free, super easy to as well to operate. And so that's the Mama Max Pro. This thing is rated at, I believe it's 6S. Yes, but I would not go up that high with the speed control. Definitely, that's definitely too high. Which is nice because if you get, you know, this truck is really only going to need 3S on a 2-wheel drive Stampede. On a 4-wheel drive Stampede, you know, 4S. So you want a speed control that's capable of more than just hitting its limits, because typically manufacturers will say it can run 3S. Usually it's going to overheat, and it doesn't really run it well. It's going to want to run 2S more, and it's where it's more comfortable. Something like this is rated much higher, so you can run 3S with this system very, very comfortably. And what I got here is I have a Mama Max Pro set up to a Tekin Pro 4 motor, censored as well. This is another option that you got, and this is a brushless censored option. Censored eliminates cogging and takes more, it's more ideal. Censored, I've heard that it initially is faster than a non-sensor system is, and then on the top end, I guess the non-censored is a little faster. Not really sure. It's very, very rare for me to be at full throttle anyways on 3 cells. It is on 2, not so much on 3. I have 2 of these motors. This is pretty high-end shit, I guess, options, whereas the price of this motor will cost you what the Valenion system will cost you. And that is 150 bucks for a motor. I have 2. I bought this one at first, the 4000 kV. Fantastic motor, look really sharp. You know, I kind of was looking for something the right color scheme to my truck. 5mm shaft. Thing is burly as hell. When you rev it up on a table, which I don't suggest doing, but I did once, it kind of jumps up in the air. It's got so much balls. Whereas the Valenion kind of sat there and just spun. This thing kind of wanted to jump around because it's got so much power. Giant shaft, monster torque, fantastic motors. With this setup, with the $150 motor, just one motor, of course, you wouldn't need 2. And a Mama Max Pro, you're looking at 275 bucks. That I would say is definitely on the high end there. For something like that, I would suggest something if you want to go crazy and you got the funds. The Mama Max Pro setup, Pro SCT. It's a green. It's the same speed control, but with green decals, and it'll either come with the 3800 motor from Castle, or it's going to come with the 2400 motor. That 2400 motor is a monster. On 3 cells, that thing can be doing backflips, making your Stampede do backflips. That thing is out of control. It's off the hook. It's probably something I'm gonna pick up just to get a good comparison with this motor itself. So definitely an option there too as well. So, you know, again, a system like this is, you know, full of features, kind of headache free, I guess, if you will. You know, it's this motor itself. You can either have your small 3.3mm shaft as this, where it's going to use 48 pitch gearing, which, if you guys don't know, 48 pitch gearing and difference is going to be these types, where they're kind of rounded out with smaller teeth, whereas the 5mm shaft, as on the Pro 4 motor I showed you, is going to be running 32 pitch gears. These are mod 8s, much beefier. I can run my gears without a gear cover, which I do, which actually with typically this gear cover does not fit anyways. This is typically how I run the system, and if it get a rock in there, it will spit it right out. It's actually running really quiet for me now once I got the tranny all hooked up and nice and everything all nice and sturdy, but without any slop and also without any friction. It actually does not run very loud at all. When I first put it on, it kind of sounded crazy, but now I think got things in order, it does. And by crazy, I mean it was just a little different, a little louder. Sounded really fucking good too, but this is just you know, now it's actually pretty damn quiet, and I don't even notice a difference. So that's gonna be your thing. Some Castle motors that I recommended, the 3800 or the 2400 kV motor, which is a longer can. Some do come with the 5mm shaft, some do not. If you don't want to switch your gearing, I recommend it, but you know, you're not going to run a gear cover, which is not a big deal. When you have this gearing, it is a big deal with 48 pitch teeth, but the pinions that come with it are, I guess, a lot more expensive. They're 12 bucks a piece. However, they are a lot more durable. I have yet to roast a screw on a pinion, compared to smaller ones too as well. And so big difference. Side note too as well, a lot of people will use their millimeter shaft and they strip out these grub screw holes, either the inside or the outside of them. I have learned from a fellow veteran at the time that these are actually not millimeters. I've never stripped out one of these, and I use a 5/64 inch wrench, and it's a fraction bigger than the 2.5 millimeters are, or 2.0, and they do not strip out. So that is another huge benefit, is I don't strip out those pinions anymore. I have yet to. I've taken them off and put them back on a shitload of times. Typically, if it's like 80 degrees, I run 1754 gearing. If it's less, I run, you know, if it's warm, or if it's like 80 degrees, I run 1554 on 32 pitch. If it's like 60 degrees outside, I can run like 1754. So it makes a big difference. And I noticed that with my temp gun as well, is what gearing I'm okay to really, you know, do speed runs as much as I want, and things like that. So I remove the pinions all the time, and with having the beefier setup like this, stripping the shit out is not an issue. So this is kind of the high end. That's the more stock brushless end. Waterproof though is a benefit. That's kind of the high end of the spectrum. But what about if you want a brushless system that's still capable and it doesn't cost you a fortune? One fantastic option I recommend is the Castle Sidewinder SV2 with the motor it comes with, which is a 3800. Do not get the other ones that come with the 4600 or 5700. That is too high. People think that equates to more speed, and it does. It's a higher revving motor. However, it will not typically handle very high. People will put the same amount of gearing, and it doesn't have nearly as much torque. And so people put equal gearing, and then they'll end up frying it too as well, or it's too out of the system. I see a lot of those systems sold, whereas people that have the 3800 motor love it. And so here's the speed control itself. It comes in this package here, Sidewinder SV2. This thing is sold for retail $67. So really not too shabby at all for what you get. Big bang for the buck from Castle. You're going to get all the same benefits, which are be able to use the field link that you would, but without having to pay twice as much for Mama Max Pro. According to Castle, it can run 3S, and this is the SV2 here. There's the second version of the Sidewinder system. The first version is this one here. This is the original Sidewinder. I ran this in my Stampede for a while with awesome success. I still love the speed control. It's going to go something else. This is the original version. This is the second version. However, the one you see on the truck has been debadged. I bought it brand new, but I debadged it. And then I also added a fan onto it from Hot Racing. Something you could do is about 20 bucks. That way, this truck is still running 2S because it's my lady's truck. However, I can run 3S in this truck, or at least I'm pretty sure I can with the fan and everything. I'll confirm that later on. The Valenian motor itself, again, it's the same one I was discussing. There it is there. I stripped it of its blue aluminum, and then it looks a little muggy there because this thing must have moved, but it's got temperature grease, thermal grease on there. Transfer the temperature better to the heatsink. Like a good difference of like 8 degrees right there with this little heatsink. Nothing huge, more for looks or anything. But I stripped it, and then also those long motor wires that you see on the motor itself, which are extremely long, and longer the wires, longer the resistance that you see there. I have shortened them up, and so I just got some 4mm connections there. You can see some there. And I just shortened them up, and then I was able to do that. The wiring's been braided, so it didn't clash with the truck's colors and theme. And then same for these front ones as well. And then of course the HR fan was mounted on afterwards. Below, that speed control looks very similar to this one in looks and size, a little bit bigger. The mount that it's got is also from Snap ERC. They make one for this speed control and for this speed control. And it's like 10 bucks. The guy who sells these and makes these is super awesome. I highly recommend him. Make sure you ask specifically for which speed control you need the mount for, so that he can get you the right one, because they do vary in size. But yeah, this is a fantastic option to go with. You can go with something like this, and maybe I guess the Valenian motor, or another brushless motor. You can go with a Sidewinder and a tack-on, or better yet, for 125 bucks, you can get the Sidewinder system with a Castle 3800 motor. Again, do not go for the higher kV ones. Not as much torque. A system that's not liked as much. The 3800 motor is one fantastic motor. You do have an option of going with an alternate brushless motor. If you do get something like this, for example, we do have a Venom 3300 kV motor right here. This thing I bought, however, is fairly, I wouldn't say it's powerful enough for what I like to do. Its motor is actually a 380 can size. The fins make it a 540, but it's definitely not a true 540. A lot of hobby wings look just like this. You're not going to be getting a true 540 motor. The actual can of the motor is much thinner. It's actually as thick as my Valenian 380 motor that I have, which I will show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. You can run a Castle speed control with a tack-on motor. You can get a true 540 size there. Or, better yet, get it with the 3800 combo. And in the future, if you want to upgrade your speed control and run 3S comfortably, you can upgrade to the Mama Max Pro system, and then keep that 3800 motor, and you will have the equivalent of the Mama Max Pro SCT combo that they sell, which comes in the green package right there. So, there's some thoughts right there to motor systems. Oh, there we are. I'll show you guys, I guess, the comparison. I've done this before, but in comparison, this is actually the same. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to capture this on camera, but they actually are the same width. So, basically, if you're getting a motor like this from Venom, or from Hobby Wing, or whatever, it's going to be this size. So do make sure that you get yourself a true 540 can, full motor, without these heat sinks. And then you'll be good to go. Similar to this one. This one's actually a 550 but you know, the can is actually a true can. The copper wiring does go all the way around, much bigger magnet and shaft inside. But as you can see that too as well. So, and last but not least, this combo here that I have this Rudy 3500. This seems like a terrific motor. I think it's 4-pole. Does not state, but kind of from most 5mm shaft motors now, I believe, are 4-pole. And it comes with an LRP brushless or speed control that you've seen. This is actually like a $200 system. It's like $179 at Tower Hobbies, and seems to do okay in a 4-wheel drive. Haven't really tested it in my 2-wheel drive Stampede, so I haven't really got a good comparison to one another. But again, something like this would also work. You can mount on a Stampede, you could do it. You know, no problem. It's going to be a good system. So, boils down to, do you want waterproof? Do you not want waterproof? If you do, Venom and like, you know, some other places you can get waterproof systems. I'd probably stick with the Valenion in that case if you do want waterproof for your truck. If you don't, then you're going to be able to get a much better combo, much better driving truck than you would if you're just going to get waterproof, because these Castle speed controls don't come waterproof yet. They you know, are a superior speed control. With that, any questions, feel free to ask below. If there's anything that you would like more information on, also ask below, advice, whatever. Rate, comment, subscribe, or like. Comment below, let me know that you stopped by for sure. Let me know if you want to check out your videos. I will do so. In the meantime, later.